we look at the Buccaneers, and you mentioned them, and Tom Brady has not had a bad season. He really hasn't. He's looked pretty good for a guy that's, 45 years old or 44 years old. He has come out and said that he's thinking about playing another year, which is crazy. I've heard stories that if the 49ers become available, that's a team he always wanted to play for because he grew up a Joe Montana fan. We also heard that maybe a reunion in the AFC East over there with the Patriots or maybe somebody else. Who knows? Do you believe that this is the last hurrah for Tom Brady?
Oh man. No, not until I really see it. Like, I don't really think he's having fun playing right now, which I think does matter a little bit, but he's just such a competitor. Like, I mean, he spent, a month at home, watching TikToks on his couch before he got bored and unretired, he's just such a competitor. He lives, breathes football. I think as long as someone wants him, he'll keep playing. And so as of now, like you mentioned, the San Francisco 49ers, if Brock Purdy doesn't work out, I could very easily see them bringing him in. Multiple other teams that they need a guy who can distribute the ball, who can call plays. We even saw it with like the Denver Broncos and Peyton Manning's last leg. Peyton Manning couldn't throw a football 15 yards in the year that they finished the Super Bowl.
Just look at this
just
number.
Go to the line, tell them what's going on, run the ball, and guide the plays. That's it. That's all you need.
Look at these numbers, man. Look at these numbers. 3,897 yards, and he still has 3 games left. So he's going to break 4,000 yards. He's 45 years old. He's going to be. He's got 20 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and his rating is 89.1. Those numbers are as good as any quarterback in the NFL right now. If you really go up and down some of the best quarterbacks in the league, he's still an elite quarterback. He's still a top 7 quarterback in the league, even on this terrible Buccaneers team. They have no offensive line. They have no defensive. Well, their front seven's pretty good. Their linebackers are great. White is a beast, but their secondary's horrible, and teams have been eating them up alive in the open field. And Mike Evans, I don't know what's going on with him this year. And Chris Godwin, he's coming off an injury. This isn't the same prolific offense we've seen over the last couple of years when Tom Brady really took over that offense.
Yeah, it is definitely been a disappointment. But like you said, it's a lot of the offensive line. We heard a couple of weeks ago, they said, we want to go run heavy. Byron Leftwich was like, that's the problem. We don't have a running game. And we see it basically every game. They try and go run heavy. We saw it against Cincinnati. And then they get punched in the mouth or they can't run. And then Tom Brady says, whatever, we're not doing that anymore. We're just going to throw it every play. And so this happens like almost every game for the last 5-6 games. I do believe they want to run the ball with Leonard Fournette, with Rachaad White, the 2 promising guys, but they just don't have a good enough offensive line help. They're not able to get a consistent enough push. They might hear, right now, 7-point favorites against the Cardinals, who are starting Trace McSorley, who I think is a terrible quarterback. I don't think this is going to be much of a game at all, even though I don't love the Bucs, but I do expect them to go on a run here. I do expect them to make the playoffs. And like you said, Brady's been playing well enough to, I think, get the job done here in this spot.
Yeah, McSorley, I think, came in for one game against the Ravens as like a wildcat quarterback when not Lamar Jackson, the backup for Lamar Jackson got hurt. I don't think it was Huntley that year. I think it was somebody else. But I think actually it might have been RG3, I think, that year. And then I think he came in at that point for his rookie year.
He can't throw the ball, so right. I don't know what they're going to do.
So also, you're a big sports betting guy as well, doing as a sports betting manager at 4for4. So is there any future bets that you like potentially for playoffs for the playoffs, maybe as a dark horse Super Bowl team that you think is good value?
Ooh, that's a good question. In terms of futures, I think Hurts's status on the MVP race is really important. I laid a bunch on Mahomes at plus money before the news broke there. But in terms of Super Bowl futures, I think, if a team like the Chargers can sneak in, 22-1 right now, they're capable, certainly, of making a run. I think Justin Herbert's awesome. As long as they're healthy, I think that they're a very interesting team. The Bengals right now have been playing just fantastic. Plus 800. The Super Bowl, they're like, a little bit further down the board. The Lions need to win out, and they're 60-1, so I can't really buy in at that price. But, I just don't think they have what it takes to make a true run like the Bengals or the Chargers potentially there. But still, the top of the board basically makes sense. Bills plus 330, Eagles plus 475, Chiefs plus 550. Those 3 are the favorites, for good reason.
I think if the Lions sneak in, I think they could be very dangerous. I saw them play against the Jets. They're a lot better than people make them out to be. I don't really like their secondary. Their secondary is but they can get at you. They can put pressure on you. They can stop the run. They proved that they could. Hutchinson is a good player. They have some players. They have playmakers. And to me, their offense could be really fantastic. The Jets are a very good defensive team. As everybody knows, they have probably the best secondary in football. And it shows you what the Jets are defensively when they play against Brown and Williams. Remember, Williams hasn't really developed yet. When this guy figures it out, watch how good this team is going to be. And they can run. Swift can run the ball. Williams can run the ball. They have weapons. So I'm not going to put out and say the Lions, if they make the playoffs, they can't make noise. They can make noise. And somehow, I'm not saying it could happen, but if somehow Green Bay can run the table and win the next 3 games and get to 9, okay? Get to 9. If the Giants fall off or if the Commanders fall off, they could actually sneak into the playoffs. It's crazy, but they really could. And if they sneak into the playoffs, I know they're not the same Green Bay Packers team. It's not because of Aaron Rodgers. It's really because they have a bunch of rookie. Watson looks like he's going to be a player. Christian Watson is going to be a nice player. But everybody else, come on. That offense is horrible. Jones is a good running back. Good.
Their defense is atrocious.
Their defense is atrocious. But I have seen this before. Remember when the Packers won the Super Bowl? Remember that? They came all the way back. They get it. They sneak into the playoffs, and they were They were 6-seed wild card team.
Yeah, a tiebreaker to the Giants and the Buccaneers.
They go all the way and win the Super Bowl because of Aaron Rodgers. So I know the possibilities are like low, like 70% no, or 75% no, and about 25% yes. Could the Green Bay Packers make the playoffs?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, right now you're looking at odds 130 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. So I mean, I'm not saying it's a great bet, but a little sprinkle there. You think they run the table, they make the playoffs, certainly possible. And as you mentioned there, I mean, the offense is getting healthier. So like Christian Watson, as you mentioned, he's
a beast.
Fantastic. Mm-hmm. Romeo Doubs also, I think, makes a difference. He's another rookie. He's a little bit up and down, but he can at least matter in some aspects. And then Alan Lazard, healthy as well. Like he's a fine chain mover. Like that's okay for them. Yeah, I mean, I think this Packers team could certainly make a run, especially in an NFC that, I'm not very excited about most of those teams, to be entirely honest.
7 teams make it. And right now, the Eagles and the Cowboys are clinching. The Vikings clinched. There is nobody else. And 49ers. So that's 4 teams that clinched. There's 3 other spots. And the Lions are 7-7. The Giants are 8-5. The Commanders are 7-6. The Packers are 6-8. The Saints, Panthers, and Falcons are 5-9. They're done. Seahawks 7-7. I mean, the Seahawks could lose this week and next week against the Jets, and they're completely out. So, this could absolutely happen. And I am not going to bet against Aaron Rodgers because we've seen this before. When they won the Super Bowl, I think, what was it? In 2010, right?
They just got in on a tiebreaker. Both the Giants and the Buccaneers were all 10-6.
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. And he's that type of quarterback. And I don't know if he's the quarterback next year because you heard Jordan Love already came out, and I know you heard this. He said that if Aaron Rodgers is here and he's starting next year, trade me. I don't want to be here. So they're going to have to make a decision because he's on his rookie contract. And if Aaron Rodgers plays next year, he's fleeing. He's not staying there. So, and he looked pretty good when he did get a chance to play this year. I think against Philadelphia, if it was.
In the second half.
Yeah, it was Philadelphia against a very good defense. So, what are your thoughts? Do you see Aaron Rodgers in the offseason getting traded or going elsewhere?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, just with ownership and there's going to be so much going on behind the scenes that we won't know about. That'll just be like, basically it'll be a battle of ownership versus, GM, coaching, like who wants to do what, who matters more. Jordan Love did come in and play pretty well against the Eagles. Mm-hmm. That being said, I believe it was, mostly garbage time at that point, but I think he threw a strike to Christian Watson over the middle there. It was like a 75-yard touchdown or something like that right away. So, I mean, the upside has always been there, but outside of that, he's looked pretty bad. Yes. I mean, in very really limited sample, like really limited. So I think there's potential there, but it's a massive decision for the Packers who, recently gave Rodgers a contract. So I don't know. I think that it's one of those things that's a toss up. It's gonna be one of those things that you're gonna have to monitor behind the scenes and hear what people are saying, hear what's going on, because it'll, ultimately dictate the future of the Packers because this team looks a lot different without Aaron Rodgers at the helm.
So one of the guys that's been rumored to come back for a while, but injury setbacks, has been Odell Beckham Jr. We heard the Cowboys were very interested, and the Giants were very interested, and now he might not play this season. Do you see him playing this season, or do you think he'll wait it out until free agency next year? And do you think he'll get paid next year or not playing at all?
Yeah, I'm skeptical if he comes back this year, but I do think that there's a good chance, like we see a team, maybe that makes it into the playoffs, like decides to take the chance on it, because if you're going for a Super Bowl, really, like, you're not risking that much money, for a guy like that. You're buying low on a player who has like massive upside. And then you also have, probably the first crack at signing him for the following year as well. So even if he's not necessarily a big contributor this year, a team that is looking to make a big Super Bowl run, I think could sign him this year. And if they don't, I think that's really telling to a few things, whether he's like really not healthy at all, like he's like basically no shot of playing this year, or, they just don't want to work with him at all. And like, there's other stuff going on beyond that. So I think that these next, month or so will be very telling into Odell Beckham's future and whether or not he gets paid next year as well.
Buffalo.
That's it would be a great fit.
I have a feeling it's Buffalo. I am not going to be surprised if you hear at the end of the regular season that they signed him to obviously a small little contract for the rest of the season where he's going for a Super Bowl with the Buffalo Bills and add another weapon to that unbelievable roster. They just don't have a running game. That's what scares me about Josh Allen. Josh Allen puts his body out too long. And he puts himself out where he can really get hurt, and a lot of damage is put on that body. He's a big guy. He's got tremendous wheels for a guy his size, so athletic, can jump over anybody, hurdle over anybody. I mean, the guy is amazing, but he hasn't looked good the last couple of weeks. Maybe it was because of the Jets and Huff's hit, and it could very much be that at the end of the season we're going to hear that he needs surgery. Who knows?
Maybe they'll just make Isaiah McKenzie the full-time running back if they sign Odell.
They need to do something. I mean, in the offseason, they definitely – and everybody keeps saying, well, I like this guy Cook, and obviously he's Dalvin Cook's brother, but they don't have their star running back on this roster. Let's be honest. They don't. Don't sit here and try to sell me that because it's not true. It's a lie. So if they did, they'd be probably – they'd have the best record in football, which – they're right there with it. I mean, obviously, but they're not playing good football. They're really not. They're squeaking by. They barely beat the Jets. They really got lucky against the Jets because Michael Carter dropped the ball on the 50-yard line. Who knows what could have happened if Mike White could have taken that ball all the way down and scored a touchdown? Who knows? So it's crazy. They're I don't know. I don't know what they are. Before we let you go, I have one prediction. I want your one prediction on this. Okay? Who wins the MVP? Okay? And who goes to the Super Bowl and wins?
Ooh, that's tough. We're going to go with Patrick Mahomes to win the MVP at this point.
Wow.
And, I mean, right now, he's currently minus 300 to win the MVP, which is insane. I think at this point, there's probably value elsewhere. If Josh Allen runs the table, if Joe Burrow runs the table, I think they're both squarely in play as well. And but the Chiefs have to lose a game. And given their current schedule, I don't think that's going to happen. So I think we're looking at Patrick Mahomes MVP. And I think in the Super Bowl here, we're going to see, I think the Eagles end up making it there. I know it's chalky, but I think the Eagles and, I was talking them up earlier. I'll go with the Chiefs, but I think that, or the Bills are just fine. But I think right now I'll go Eagles, Chiefs win in a blowout over the Eagles,
Andy
who
Reid beats
are a
his
little
former team.
bit overrated right now because they've played no one.
Andy Reid beats his former team. That's a very interesting one.
I love the narrative. Didn't even think about that. I'm piling onto that.
I've thought about that all year with that. I just want to ask before we let you go, too. I think since the last time we had you on the show, you actually done do a podcast with two guys we've had on the show. Ryan Noonan, who we had on the show. And,
very nice guy.
John Daigle, who's a recurring guest of our show. We've
Mr.
had
John
about 4
Daigle.
times. Yeah. So
He's married in Chicago.
That's right. So what is it like working with them? I just really don't know.
Oh, no, it's great. Yeah, they're both awesome guys there. I get to see both of them in person a decent amount. And, we get to, mess with each other a good bit now that we're actually friends in real life. So it's been a lot of fun, building some friendships and actually getting to, mess with each other more than just like a regular show,
And getting paid for it. Why not?
And getting paid for it, yeah.
There
What's
you go.
better than that?
Well, we really appreciate you joining us, Connor. Maybe we'll get you on the show before the playoffs or during the playoffs with a panel of guys, a fantasy guy, maybe your guys, all three of them. That would be really, really fun.
I've been asking Ryan to come on, too.
Have all three of them come on the show.
That'll work nicely.
That'll be really fun, and we'll have like a trivia game for the playoffs or something, and see we'll see who knows more about football. That'll be interesting.
That'd be a great time.
I love when John comes on the show because he's got a weird and crazy personality, and when we speak about his girlfriend, I say fiance, and he gets jumpy. He's like, wait a second. I just moved here. She's my girlfriend. We're not talking about marriage. So I love that about John. But John and and Ryan and all you guys. You guys are fantastic.
Appreciate it. It was a lot of fun coming on here. That'd be fun. Just let me know time and place, and we'll be there.